Hello there everybody, I am the CHALL and welcome to another match report. Now today is Gillingham 1, Doncaster Rovers 0, and once again we have lost a game. Now, was this one better than the other couple of results? Only a tinsy-wincy little bit, nothing too much to separate them because we didn't really do anything outstanding in that game. It was two average teams. One was better than the other by quite a distance, and Gillingham didn't really have to get out of first gear to beat us, did they? They really didn't, and they didn't have to get out of first gear to beat us. Second gear. It was unbelievable. It was a poor performance overall. We had a bit more energy in the second half, but overall it was just not good enough. I think you know that, I know that, we know that. The bigger picture, and you know me, I want to see it as in an impartial perspective, even though I'm a Rovers fan and it absolutely sucks right now. What is that? One win in 9, 5 points from the last 30 available, if I'm not mistaken. Don't get me wrong, it's poor. The fan in me is just killing inside right now, but I'm trying to be impartial here just to see both sides of the argument. And the bigger picture is, this is not Schofield's squad. It really isn't. There's players in there that can be a part of his squad, but there are players in there that just really can't. So Schofield, for me, needs the summer to build what he needs to build, and after the news, which I'm going to go on about in this video as well, with the so-called major cash injection by Terry Bramall. Like I said, I'm going to go on about that in this video and just speak about that. But for me, Schofield still needs the summer, still needs to build his team, and this season's a write-off. This season's an absolute write-off, which hurts to say, but that's just the way it is. But we're going to go on about it in this video. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell to never miss a YouTube video, and let's get into this match report. Gillingham 1, Doncaster Rovers 0. Gillingham have won 7 out of the last 8 home matches, confirming to be in League 2 next season. Meanwhile, Doncaster Rovers won 1 of their last 8 on the road and in danger of ending in the bottom half of the table, in a position where Doncaster Rovers could finish the season closer to the relegation zone than the playoff places. So let's go into the lineups then. One change to Gillingham's starting lineup sees the return of Oliver Hawkins up front, replacing Tristan Adams, who moves to the bench. Also returned to the lineup, albeit on the substitutes bench, is Lewis Page and Dom Jeffries, joined by under-18 goalkeeper Tate Holton. 5 changes for the Rovers lineup by Danny Schofield sees Bobby Faulkner, Adam Long, Zane Westbrook, Aidan Barlow for the first time in the league, and Jack Goodman starting in the starting 11, as Tom Anderson misses entirely, Oliver misses for the rest of the season through injury, and Todd Miller, Liam Ravenhill and Cal Hurst all drop to the bench, where we also see another appearance for Jack DeGrucci. So let's go into this particular match then. Like I said before, it was just an average performance. It was not good enough at all. 2 average teams. Gillingham barely had to get out of starting blocks to win against us. I think the first half especially was poor. We were too narrow, I felt like, and fair play to Danny Schofield for trying something different. We could see what he was trying to do in that first half. It was very pragmatic, it was very narrow, it was something different. He wanted to go away from the fundamentals for now and just sort of focus on doing what he thought was needed to get the results. And, I praised Danny Schofield for trying something different away from his usual fundamentals and just trying something, different. But ultimately, it didn't work today, and like I said, Gillingham barely had to get out of second gear to beat us today, and we had no crosses in the first half. We barely had to put bodies in the box. We barely put bodies in the box, and why didn't we put more bodies in the box? If we're going for a pragmatic style, if we're aiming for a lot more long balls, which we did see that, we did see a lot less out from the back in the first half. We saw a lot more sort of balls to the midway point and long passes and long balls from the back to the front. And we just didn't do anything with it, in my opinion. And, we saw a lot more Route 1 type football, a lot more Route 1 pragmatic football, which, you might have to do that to get results in this league. So, we had to sort of go away from what he wanted to do long term for the moment and just focus on getting the bloody result, because we need results, we need points, we need to finish as strong as possible, and we've not. But again, even when you play pragmatic football, and even when you play for the result rather than the actual style of football. If you go away from your style of football and just focus on playing any style of football to get a result, whether that's pragmatic or not, it still hasn't worked today. And there's certain personnel in there that were just not having a good game. I think Molineux had a poor game, you know, and I thought it was the Crew game, I think it was, where I thought it looked a bit more lively, but again, just another poor performance from Luke Molineux, and you know, albeit he had to do it left wing back. And right, this is where I kind of have a problem here with Danny Schofield, because look, if James Brown was on the bench because of fitness and because he wasn't 100% ready to start the match but was fit enough to be on the bench, then I totally get it. If not, why the hell are we putting Molineux at left wing back when Brown's on the bench? You put Seaman on the right wing back and you put Rowe in the midfield. Great. Why is Molineux at left wing back? Don't really get it. But like I said, if Brown had a fitness problem and couldn't start the match but was able to be on the bench, then fair play. He's taking care of his players, fair enough. I thought there was a few players in there that did better than others. I could name them. There's 5 players that I could name that had at least somewhat decent shifts today. I think Ben Close and Zane Westbrook had alright performances, sort of average performance in the midfield, nothing outstanding. I think Bobby Faulkner tried his hardest. I think Bobby Faulkner looks a really nice, young, accomplished player. One for the future. We cannot loan him out next season. He has to be part of that defence next season. He has to be part of that back line next season. Is that an excuse not to sign anybody in centre back? No. But I would like to see Faulkner in that back 3. I want to see him competing in that back 3 next season. For me, I feel like Aidan Barlow had a decent game, and you know, that's his first league start this season. It's his first start since I think the Papa John's Trophy match many months ago. So the fact that he's not played a lot of football in months, and the fact that he can come on the pitch and do more than Molineux, the fact that he can do more than a couple of other players, it just says something about what Aidan did today. You know, he pressed well at times. He was trying to run at people. He wasn't afraid to, you know, go forward. You know, he barely ever passed backwards. He always looked forwards, and that's the kind of players we need to build around. These kind of forward-thinking players, and an under-21 squad would be perfect for the likes of Aidan Barlow. The kind of development the stage of development where he is, etc. I think that's the kind of squad that you'd need him for. But there we go. For me, I feel like Goodman pressed well as well. I thought he looked a bright spark on the pitch as well. Shame that he had to come off with a bit of cramp. Agard came on, didn't look amazing, to be honest with you. I don't think Schofield's got a lot of trust in Agard personally. I think, don't get me wrong. I think we saw in the Northampton game and the Crew game, he was trying certain people in certain positions, like Todd Miller at striker, for example, last week. Didn't work, but I think that's, and again, I'm looking at this from an impartial perspective rather than a fan perspective. I think that's part of his process. I think he's just trying certain people in certain positions to see what works and see what doesn't work, and looking ahead to next season. Not the style of play, but I think there's certain people in certain positions where he's trying out their versatility, seeing how they work. Does it work? Not all the time. Is it part of the process? Yes, it is. And the bigger picture is, it's all part of this process of who can stay and be a part of the team going forward, and who needs to go, basically. But for me, Barlow had a better game than other players. I think Close and Westbrook looked alright. I think Faulkner and Goodman are part of the future of this squad and part of the future of the club. They're players we need to long term have ready to become starting players along the next few years. But overall, it was a poor game. I think second half we had a bit more range than the first, but again, just couldn't really. And again, it's the whole thing of coming forward. I think we are better in sort of staying back in games, playing pragmatic, and just hoofing it long, but there's not enough bodies in the box, and what we're doing is we're not really getting any chances off on target. And you know, we barely had a chance on target anyway, but But yeah, I think Gillingham had a lot more attacking threat than us. You know, I feel like Gillingham dealt with us quite well. I think that there was some scuffles here and there. There was that moment in the second half where there was that foul, and Aidan was arguing with the referee, and I would, you know, this is the kind of fan that I am. I'm just, you know, not screaming at my laptop, but I'm literally telling my laptop, Aidan, keep your head cool. Don't even think about getting a second yellow card, because you just can't lose your cool. Did I think it was a foul? 50-50, but you know, again, I think the players were starting to lose the Reds a little bit. But overall, I feel like I said, it was a poor game, and you know, Gillingham deserved the win in the end. I think it wasn't comfortable, but I think it was two average sides. One was better than the other because they barely had to get out of second gear for the majority of the match. And overall, I think that they did pretty well. Overall, I think they did pretty well. And for me personally, I feel like Gillingham have a lot of potential going forward as an opposition. I feel like with the investment, with the new takeover from the Gallinsons many months ago, I think that Gillingham going forward could really progress now and try and, you know, progress up the divisions. Overall, like I said, just an average game. Now then, this whole Terry Bramall stuff, this whole sort of quote-unquote major cash injection. I spoke to Terry, I think it was before the Northampton game or the Crewe game. You know, I just had a bit of, you know, personal news to tell him, and you know, we sort of talked about Rovers for a little bit. And yeah, don't get me wrong, Terry's a nice guy. I ain't got a problem with Terry at all. You know, and you know, he always has a big smile on his face, no matter what the situation. He's got a big smile on his face, and I like that in a human being. I love someone who always has a smile on his face and tries to see the best in things. But yeah, I saw this statement yesterday. This so-called major cash injection that's set to be in the playing budget next season. I'm in the same predicament as other people. I believe it when I see it. I think there's just too much evidence of, not false promises, but just things that just weren't adding up. I don't think it was completely false. I think it's just things that just aren't adding up in the past sort of couple of seasons, past few seasons. Especially with the finishes that we've had in the table, the fact that we sunk from the top 6 to 14th in League One, and then the next season we were trying to build with an average budget. We didn't have enough in the budget to really properly rebuild a squad, and we paid for it. We got relegated. And this season, again, we got an average League 2 budget where we need to be in the table for our budget, as Cop and Durafield not too long ago. And we struggled. We struggled to adapt to League 2. We didn't like the style of play under the previous manager. We got rid of the previous manager. We brought in a new manager with a process and a plan, or some kind of plan, or Coppinger had some kind of plan with Schofield. Those of you at the Meet the Owners event with the presentation at the start will have seen the plan and know what they're trying to do long term. And you know, again, it's been that struggle to adapt. But I think this run of games, and I think that, you know, don't get me wrong, the performance at Grimsby away, you know, many months ago now, was a sign of what Schofield can do with these players. But some of these players just don't deserve to be here. Some of these players can't stay here. We can't reward failure. Those players that have failed this season can't be rewarded with a new contract. Those who are out of a deal. And you know, and that's why I say Schofield needs the summer. And people say, well, why do you think Schofield's the man to push this club forward? Why would you back Schofield with the summer? And I put it simply down to this: this is still McSheffrey's squad. This is still partly a Darren Moore squad in terms of a couple of players. This is still partly a Richie Wellens squad with a couple of players, with a few players. But overall, I would say that it's a process. And you know, I'm not going to try and make excuses for the performances at all, because they've been poor, but I think that that's not the type of football Schofield wants to play. I think it's the way we've been forced to play. And if you think back to the style of football we were playing under Richie Wellens as well, that wasn't the style of football he wanted to play. That was the style of football he was forced to play because of personnel he had, and personnel he couldn't get into the squad and was forced to work with sometimes. So, you know, again, Gary McSheffrey, I don't think that was the style of football he wanted to play all the time. The sort of, you know, defensive, you know, out the back and all that. I don't think that's the style of football McSheffrey wants to play, or McSheffrey wants to play. But at the end of the day, some of the personnel he had, he just couldn't work with them, and we didn't have enough in the budget to get a full squad out of it. And Wellens paid the price, McSheffrey paid the price. if we keep going in this cycle, many more managers are going to pay the price when the cause of the problem is rooted deeper than that. So overall, like I said, that's why I'm not completely on the manager's back here. I get why other people are. I do get it. You know, I do want to see both sides of it. I do get why people don't really think the manager should be here next season. I do get it because the results have been poor. But the bigger picture is this isn't 100% Schofield's squad. He's got one of his signings to work with today. And, you know, part of that's down to injuries, of course. But again, I'm not going to use injuries as an excuse this season because that's the last thing we need to do. But overall, I feel like Schofield needs something different to work with. I think he needs better to work with. And I think if this so-called cash injection from Terry Bramall is, you know, what we hope it will be this summer and offers that kind of optimism, and it's true to his word, and we do get a major cash injection that is better than the budget that we've had, and Schofield does get backed in the summer with an upward trajectory in talent and quality of talent, then I've got no problems with Schofield building his team. It's just if he gets backed in the summer and by October it goes wrong, it's not too late to change, you know. Let's say we get end of September, start of October, we end up having a poor start to the season, a very poor start to the season, and he's been back with a major cash injection in the summer. Schofield's got nowhere to turn then. He has to go. But I will only say that if and when it gets to that point. If he's not been back to the summer, what more can Schofield do? If he does get back to the summer and does poorly, end of September, start of October, and he does poorly with the backing he's been given, what more can he do, in my opinion? And I sort of see us in a similar position to Swindon with Jody Morris. Jody Morris is a fantastic coach at Chelsea. And he's now manager there, and they've got a nice big squad around him. Yes, Swindon's got new owners, but you know, there's a lot of tension between the fans towards Sandro, I believe it was, who's part of the recruitment staff, and there's a lot of people asking for Sandro to go, and it's that little piece of the puzzle that may force Swindon to go in a better direction. And overall, like I said, I think Jody Morris and Danny Schofield are very much process managers. Liam Rosenwar at Hull City, despite the new owners, is a process manager. I see the quality of time that could be given to these managers with the right backing. Yes, the owner situation at these three clubs, Swindon, Hull, Donny, very, very different. Swindon had new owners a couple of seasons ago. Hull had new owners a couple of seasons ago. Donny's had the same owner for the last nearly 10 years. So, well, the last sort of 15 if you want to count the John Ryan times as well, because Bramall's been here since, just before the Championship promotion. So, first time in 50 years when it happened in 2008 under Sean O'Driscoll with Leeds final at Wembley. So, Bramall's been here for a long, long time, and I don't slate Bramall at all. I think Bramall is, I've got to thank Bramall for the years that he gave us under John Ryan. Gavin Baldwin's done some great work as a CEO, but unfortunately I think the buck stops with the chairman, and I think he's the main focus of the anger, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens on the pitch for the rest of the season. I don't have confidence in getting any wins now, and that might be a negative approach, but that's just my personal fan opinion. The impartialness in me thinks that the squad just needs to try much harder than that. Like I said, I saw a lack of energy in the first half, better in the second half, but not by much. And overall, just needs improving. So, overall then, Gillingham 1, Doncaster Rovers 0. Needs to be much better than that across both halves. We've got Grimsby on Monday, Easter Monday, a large Grimsby sellout coming. The protest is still going ahead, as far as I'm aware, at the East End reception at 1 o'clock. So those of you who are attending and want to make your voices heard, you can do so as you please. I'm going to peep my head around there, see how many people turn up and see what it's like. I'm interested to see how it's going to look. I'm interested to see how many people turn up on the Monday. Like I said, I'll be there to see how many people turn up and what the whole atmosphere of the protest is going to be like. But just to see what happens. But overall, like I said, it's going to be a very interesting Easter Monday coming up with Grimsby. But that is it for this video, guys. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now. Thank you very much.